So I heard you wanted a 2018 comeback. Well, here it is. Let's start the game. SEGA presents those mad scientists. Christian Whitehead and Co. Sonic Mania. I mean, what? Sure, let's go into it, right? Okay. Sonic Mania has an autosave feature, nothing special. Anyway, Sonic Mania is a spiritual successor to Sonic 3 Knuckles. I'm just gonna get that out the way first. The other thing I'm gonna get out the way are the extras. You can play Blue Spheres in Sonic Mania on your own free time. You can also play Mean Bean on your own free time. What does that mean? Well, you'll find out later. The DA guard is unlocked as you play the game. And what about those gold things? Well, let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Let's play Mania mode. Don't ignore all these dumb files, because they're a thing. And let's just play as Sonic. We're gonna play as Sonic. We're gonna play as Tails afterward. And we're gonna play as some secret mode that best could be described as a meme. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so let's get to it, right? Wow, this looks like the start of Sonic 3. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, that's not Knuckles. What is that? What are these egg robos doing here? What? Oh no! What are you doing? No, stop! You don't know what you're doing! Oh. It's a teleportation device. Teleportation, yeah. And then what? Why are we in Green Hill Zone? Is this the miracle of Dr. Eggman? Has he finally learned proper time travel? Or is it just the device he's using? Well, anyway. Sonic Mania, yes? Sonic has a new feature. The Drop Dash. I call it the Lazy Man Spin Dash, because usually it's not as effective as Spin Dash, but it can be useful in some situations. You might have noticed that lightning shield. Yes, Sonic 3 shields are in this game. This is pretty much a continuation of some of the features that, for example, Sonic 1 and 2 Remastered had. Sonic 1 and 2 Remastered had a lot of special capabilities and stuff like that. I wish they would release it on a real platform other than mobile, but we can't always have nice things. Anyway. Another thing about Sonic Mania is that if you reach a checkpoint, like I did earlier and I just like completely ignored it, you get a thing. This is also another thing. This is a, you know, Sonic 3-like ring. No big deal or anything like that. It is actually worth 50 rings if you get all the special stages. In this playthrough, we'll be getting the emeralds. So in these kinds of special stages, the blue spheres are actually very important, but so are the rings. You start with a certain amount of rings. It's actually different depending on which stage you're in. And your objective is literally to catch the UFO. Yes, it's really that simple. But you collect enough blue spheres, and your speed will increase. Your speed increases to Mach 3. That is the maximum speed. If you manage to collect more spheres after that, you start getting bonuses of 10,000 each time you do it. So it actually becomes really fun after a while. Trying to be able to control yourself and all that. So that's the first emerald. You literally can't fall off on that stage, by the way. As far as I've seen. Maybe I missed a spot where you can fall off, but yeah. You can fall off on later stages, I promise. Alright. So, Sonic Mania was probably meant to be a much smaller game, but it turned out to be a much more, a much larger project than it actually should have been, maybe? Because you may have already noticed some things are already the same as the original zones themselves. Like this first act, you saw a lot of parts that were very reminiscent of Green Hill 1. You saw a part from Green Hill 2. I believe you'll see a part from Green Hill 3 as well. And if you look at every zone that comes from another Sonic game, you'll probably notice many more of those parts. Now, from the best of what I've heard, I believe that is Sega's responsibility. That kind of makes the returning zones a little bit less exciting in my eyes. Simply because there is a very good opportunity to make truly reimagined zones, and they kind of really missed the ball. They missed the ball on a whole lot of other things too, but don't worry, I'll get to that later. I promise. Anyway, so what we're doing here is Special Stage 1 from Sonic 3. I know, very boring. But, when you get at least 25 rings from a and get to a checkpoint, you are transported to one of these stages. If you get it perfect in the Blue Sphere stage, you will get a gold medal. If you just complete the level, you will get a silver medal. If you get all of them, well, you get congratulations. There are some achievements as well, but mostly congratulations. And just like, that's about it. So this is a boss. This is a thing. It's a giant-looking Eggman head. Or two of them, really. That was exciting, right? Alright, so at the score screen, you might notice Cool Bonus. Cool Bonus translates into how many times you got hit in the stage. If you don't get hit at all, you get 10,000 points. And 1,000 is subtracted per hit. Even if you had a shield or anything like that, that counts as well. So anyway, Green Hill 2 is the second acts are meant to be somewhat different. This part is very similar to Green Hill 3 though, so far. And you might have noticed that Motobug just walking on air. Yep, that's the thing. But for the most part, Act 2s are meant to be a little bit more different than their counterparts in terms of new design and stuff like that. Regarding the Blue Sphere bonus stages, I won't be entering too many because I already have all the gold medals, as you already saw. I'll probably enter a few more, just for an example, but that's really about it. So anyway, for the most part, if you like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, this game is definitely for you. You can also burn bridges. That's actually an achievement, by the way, because this game really doesn't have great achievements. I am not going to lie about that. So this game is more or less for the people that really like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I can't really, like, sit here and say, oh yeah, you know, this is a game, and, you know, whatever thing. It's Death Egg Robot, why are you here? That's the real question, right? Well, the Death Egg Robot has been trivialized and is now a first boss instead of a last boss. To make fun of you when you were a kid, and you had a hard time fighting that boss in 1992, or later, or in the early 2000s, depending on how old you are. Whatever the case may be. This capsule sucks. There you go. So that was a thing, right? Alright. So, Mania was tied to forces. This thing is called the Phantom Ruby. I was about to call it the Phantom Ruby. Okay. So this thing is called the Phantom Ruby. It does things. In this game it warps time, apparently, and space. In Forces it's not quite the same, so I don't know what happened. Maybe the power got lessened when it entered Forces, I don't know. A lot of things are still, like, very unclear about the Phantom Ruby altogether. Because this thing is just here in Sonic Mania, and in Forces it's, like, barely explained. It's also just there. Like, is it an invention of Eggman? Is it really just something that was found? That's kind of unclear. It's definitely unclear. Alright, so that blue ring I just picked up, it's called a Hyper Ring. Yes, a Hyper Ring. However, unlike Knuckles Chaotix, it doesn't do exactly the same thing. Instead of making your rings form into one big ring, it's more like several smaller rings. It's more like 8 smaller rings. and each of those 8 rings is worth a portion of your rings when you lost them. So it's designed to get your rings back easier, but at the same time, it's also kinda eh. So I'm about out of rings. Let's fix that problem, yes. If you get hit, I believe you lose 10 rings, if I'm not mistaken. So don't run out of rings. That arrow you saw a little bit ago, that raises you by an entire level. That would have been really good for me right about now, but I missed it, so yeah. Be careful when you use it though, because if it raises you an entire level, you were like right there, it's worth like 2 spheres. So there's a bit of a difference to that. You want to use it correctly. There's really not too much to say about these special stages. They're actually not the most fun things in the world. They really just seem like, you know, just give me the emerald already, that sort of thing, you know? But I guess it's the best they could do. I guess. It's supposed to sort of remind you of Sonic CD special stages with the UFO, but it's really not the same concept. Anyway, so you get that ring, you were underwater before. The water actually does go away, so it actually does help you. Word of caution about these blocks, they're actually pretty terrible in this game. They're not like Sonic 2. If you wind up getting crushed, yeah, that's the reason why. I'm not going to try and demonstrate that because it actually comes naturally on its own, so if I do get crushed today, that would be the demonstration. Anyway, because this game is great, I'm going to show you something else. Because this game is wonderful and has no bugs, right? Wrongo! I'm also really... What? Okay. Path swappers, yes. Path swappers are a thing. So it's the usual style. Make sure you get ring. That's also a particular bug about this level. You can actually have water physics in this boss, which actually don't help you a single bit, and I really just kind of maybe screwed myself. I don't know. That's yet to be determined. There's the demonstration about those hyper rings. The difference between those and the ones in Knuckles Chaotix are, if you don't collect the ring fast enough in Knuckles Chaotix, the ring actually splits into the normal amount of rings you would have lost. Instead, these rings I don't think split at all. They just disappear. So I guess it's a bit of a trade-off? It's a bit of a unique trade-off, but I'm not exactly the biggest fan of it. Because if you're trying to ring attack, for example, yeah, that looks silly, right? It does. If you try to ring attack, and you lose your rings, and you can't get all 8 of those back, then the item essentially becomes pointless. I'm just gonna say that straight up. The item does essentially become pointless. It's really just meant to help you survive, if anything. That's the only thing it's really used for. Which is alright, but it doesn't make it really anything special. Anyway, so visually speaking about this level is actually really nice looking. This is actually the most nice looking chemical plant I think I've ever seen. Right, it's definitely better than the one in Forces, probably. But, you know, I haven't actually played Forces, so I'm not gonna knock on it too much. I'm just gonna say that the two are connected, and they probably shouldn't have been, in the end. Because the thing that wound up happening with the fact that these two games were together, this game was brought down because of Forces. But not in some, like, epic way. It's more like, let's subtly make this game a little bit less from its true potential in any way possible. Now, you might say, oh yeah, this is still a great game. Sure, it's a game. It's not that bad, but it could be a lot better. And there are definitely reasons why it could be better, and a lot of them are connected to the fact that SEGA was probably worried about how Forces was going to turn out. And that if Mania was the best game ever, even though some people think it already is anyway, if Mania was truly the best game ever, then Forces would be entirely ignored. And for the most part, that's exactly what happened anyway. So the whole Phantom Ruby storyline was basically just shoved in by SEGA. Mania probably had no business having anything related to the Phantom Ruby. It was just meant to be some sort of cheap explanation as to just fit in zones from Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic CD as well. If you want to know a fun fact, Sonic 1 has one zone, that's Green Hill. Sonic 2 has two zones. The one we're in right now, Chemical Plant, and one other zone later. Sonic 3 and Knuckles has, I believe it's 4? And Sonic CD has 2. So Sonic CD came out not long after 2, and was meant to come before 3. Well, yeah, actually did come before 3, not just meant to. So that's why that has 2 as well. And 3 Knuckles, yeah, has at least 3. I'm trying to think real quick. Don't mind me if I take literally forever to think about this, but I think it was either 3 or 4. I probably should have figured that out before I started this recording, but whatever. The point is, there are also 4 new zones. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, actually. 1 Sonic 1 zone, 2 Sonic 2 zones, 3 Sonic 3 zones, including SNK, and 4 new zones altogether. Because Mania was portrayed as like a 4th game, although it's not connected to the first 3. The first 3 also has loose connections to each other anyway, so it's not really like anything special. Although, to be fair, 2 and 3 are actually technically connected. It's 1 and the rest that aren't really connected with each other. So this has like a loose connection, I guess. This has that generation style thing where it's, you know, you're just using some kind of weird time travel example to just explain why Sonic is reliving Chemical Plant Zone all over again. And stuff like that. But this game is not without its surprises. There's definitely some things I'll point out later. In the later zones. There are a lot of references. If you could probably get them all, you're great. But it'll probably take you several playthroughs to figure it all out. I almost fell right in that hole. That would have been pretty bad. And I'm dead. Because I didn't turn fast enough. Oh well. It's fine. We'll get all the Chaos Emeralds by the end, we promise. Or I promise, rather. 50,000 points still get you life in this game. It's like Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Nothing special about that. Alright, so we come to our first surprise of Sonic Mania. You expected a normal boss here, right? I don't think so. You're facing the greatest scientific genius in the world, Dr. Eggman, in a game of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, except he's really rusty. And he doesn't play like he does in Stage 13 of Mean Bean Machine. So, if you're terrible at Puyo, guess what? You're not gonna do too badly here. You might lose once, but it's not gonna be too bad, I promise. It's definitely a promise. I don't know why I did that just now, but okay. We're gonna have to deal with this somehow. Basically, your objective is obviously just to get rid of Eggman and, you know, try to do it as fast as possible. I'm playing pretty terribly right now, so... This works just like Mean Bean Machine. You cannot counter damage. All you can do is take it whenever Eggman just decides to lay it on you. I was hoping to show off like a forward cheat or something, but it ain't gonna happen today. Although this is a nice 3. I'll take it. Usually you want to like try to at least 4 chain this guy. 5 chaining also works. Anything higher is overkill. Because that's exactly how it is in Mean Bean Machine. You ideally want to 4 chain, 5 chain enemies. It results in more or less an instant kill. Alright, so that wasn't my best performance, but it's alright. You can also play Mean Bean in the extras. You can play on your own, you can play with a comm, or you can play with another player as well. I don't think you can play on your own, I think you have to play against a comm. I didn't actually try that mode. So, anyway, first new zone of Sonic Mania, it's the 3rd zone, right? This is Studioopolis. This is also the first zone that I believe was revealed about Mania, so it's fitting, I guess, that it's the first actual new zone. And I gotta say, it's pretty good, for the most part. I don't have any real complaints about Studioopolis. There's a lot of little references to things, if you look hard enough. A lot of bumpers, Wii, Eggman Robotnik, Egg TV, they're alive. That thing just likes to take your picture, but it also can hurt you, so it's still bad. It's still a badnik. It's a badnik with an attitude. He wants to make a profile of Sonic real quick. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to be doing too many of these Blue Sphere stages, just showing them off. I'm also going to mention that not all of them are actually from Sonic 3 Knuckles. You may have already noticed that this is so far just from Sonic 3. For whatever reason, they decided to bring a lot of them back from Sonic 3 Knuckles, which actually results in another really bad missed opportunity. I feel like you could bring like one of them back or so just to get a feel for it. But Blue Sphere has a lot of stages, a lot of possible stages that you can actually just have. Even in the very game Blue Sphere, there are hundreds of millions of them. And yet, almost half of them are from Sonic 3 Knuckles in this game for whatever reason. This game actually draws a lot of things from Sonic 3 Knuckles, actually. Yeah, that's why I call it a Sonic 3 Knuckles spiritual successor. Because instead of Sonic 3 Knuckles Remastered, which isn't probably going to officially happen by SEGA, but I've heard of Fan Project. Heard of Fan Project wanting to deal with that, which may turn out interesting. Anyway, that's a silver medal. That's what happens when you don't perfect the stage. It's considered clear. The first time you play this game, the start post will give you new stages until you've completed them all. And then it will give you the stages you've only silvered until you've completed them all. After that, the start posts are still active, like I'm showing you. But you're just playing the stages over and over again in a specific order. In fact, it's the original order, I believe, that you started off with. Anyway, this particular badnik does certain faces, depending on how many times you hit him. You see, this man feels really sad right now. This badnik is so sad. I almost feel bad of taking it out of his misery. That's how sad I feel about it. Anyway, I'll leave the rest of the references to the imagination. You can just, I can just have that thing hit me in the ass, that's fine. That was not my intent, but so be it. I'm not ring attacking this game yet, so it doesn't matter to me just yet. I will say that if you're trying to ring attack this game and I missed the ring, this game is actually as hard as Sonic 3 Knuckles, if not harder to deal with. The stages are often very big, and so collecting all the rings isn't always an easy task. But perhaps it's a challenge. Perhaps it's a challenge. Like I'll demonstrate later, Sonic Mania also has different pathways for Knuckles in certain stages. That's also the same to Sonic 3. It's almost as if Knuckles having different paths has become some sort of a staple because of Sonic 3. Anyway, so this boss is very simple. It's almost Advanced 2-like. That should be very similar to what it reminds you of. It's a running boss, so it'll most remind you of Advanced 2. So this boss is actually really boring, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually really boring. A lot of the mini bosses are actually not so great. It's basically just knock the blue thing back into the boss a couple of times and then you win. That's really all it is. But it's alright. I mean, the music's actually pretty good. This theme is actually better than the regular mini boss theme, in my opinion. The regular mini boss theme really doesn't strike very well with me at all. Like, I get it, they're trying to go for the comedic tone, but I feel like it just doesn't fit right very much. Compared to this theme is actually pretty enjoyable. So, that big robot you just saw is one of the hard-boiled heavies, as they call it. It is an Eggman Elite Task Force. Why they could only shoot things out of a helicopter, I don't know. I think Eggman might have been on a budget. Anyway, Studioopolis 2, it's showtime. There's a lot more fun here. There's also a lottery in here. It's the closest thing to Casino Night Zone, so yeah, here we are. What do we got today in the Gallop Lotto? Well, that's a good start. 3. Wow. That was pretty nasty. Let's say we try that again, if possible. I don't even know how to get back up. Nah, we're not gonna try again. Unless we're getting that one later in the stage. This stage loves to force you out of the lotto, unfortunately. I would love to stay in there for the entire time and possibly demonstrate what a time over looks like, but this game doesn't allow that much fun, unfortunately. So, it is what it is. Let's go into the next ring and repeat Special Stage 3 all over again. Wow. That was pretty bad, actually. You can get comboed. You don't have a lot of iframes in the special stage, so be careful when you're hitting spikes. You can very much get comboed. One weird thing about the special stages is that if you run out of time by rings, and then you collect more rings afterward, at the end of the stage, when your score tallies, those rings actually still count towards your score. Which I think is kinda bullshit, but it is what it is, I guess. You'll often want to try to take the shortest paths possible, but also make sure your rings are in order and you're getting spheres once in a while as well. Because the UFOs are really going to go far away if you don't. You'll definitely see this on another special stage. Another special stage actually has a very bad habit of allowing that to happen, and then no matter how many rings you have, you probably will never catch up. You may have to go the other way just to try and have a better chance at catching the UFO. Unfortunately, Sonic lost the ability to drift. Well, this is 2D Sonic anyway, so Sonic hasn't really lost the ability to drift. It's just, you can't drift in the special stages that much. I would equate real drifting to probably like Sonic R. So if you could drift in special stages, it would probably be something close to Sonic R. That's alright. You don't need to drift to win. You only need to drift in a racing game, like ASRT. That's where you only need real drifting. Sure, why not? Let's go in another one. This is one of the Super Emeralds, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Which color emerald this is for, I couldn't tell you, because I don't remember those by heart, but it's definitely one of the supers, I'll say that much. So most of the features you'll be able to unlock while you play the game, but I believe some of them are tied to the Blue Sphere stages as well, so eventually you'll want to make sure to get them all. Every playthrough in the world probably has begun with a ton of Blue Sphere stages all at once. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. So at least I'm trying to not make that, you know, too much of a thing, if possible. I gotta figure out where those 9 are. Unfortunately, there's only a 9 spot left, so I'm not gonna be able to perfect this. Because the rule of Blue Sphere is if you get every sphere, you will not be able to get the rings. So whenever you're trying to perfect stages, you need to make sure that whatever spheres you have left can't be circled around and given rings as a result. A lot of stages will test you on that, so you'll need to keep your eyes definitely open in a lot of spots. Anyway, let's continue. I'll mention things about the scoring system in this game a little later, because there are some things that can be abused in this game. Like that, you know that thing I was just on. You could go over there again and just keep using it for 500 points. That's an easy one. There are other ones like it, but there's one later that's also a little bit more interesting, because you probably wouldn't think of it in your average playthrough. What? Oh, you can do that. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I did not know you could do that. That's actually cool. Hey! 17 rings, I'll take it. I'll take it. The best thing you can do are 3 X's in there. You get a couple 3X's and like 7s, you're golden. Yeah, that was a spring. Let's go again. What do we got this time? Seven. 1X. 7. 7! Wow. That was pretty close. Pretty close to a very good result. That box just went everywhere. That box is just continuously falling. Wow. That's cool. Anyway, what's on Egg TV, you ask? Let's find out. Let's check the weather report. What is the weather today, Birdman? It is a whopping 307 degrees outside. That's pretty hot. What's it gonna be like tomorrow? Oh, that's a big temperature change in a single day. That's probably like a record. Oh, and then the next day it's gonna be 512 degrees, man. Anyway, you'll notice this 72216 here, right? You'll also notice that there's a faint noise. That is the noise of the Sonic Anniversary stream. When they goofed with the audio. You might have heard something else just now, that's unrelated. But, yeah. So, that's the sound of the Sonic Anniversary stream, which is really nice that they put that in. If you didn't know. Anyway, it's about time for Flying Butter.